You got Kyrie Irving on the other side of things, former teammate of yours, and certainly one of the better players in the league with the ball in his hands. What was it like having him as a teammate? How was that formative in your career, and just the defensive challenge of going up against a guy like him? What does it take to stop him?
Um, well, I think that was like 5 questions. I think it was great. Definitely learned a lot from Kyrie while he was here, and it's been great to see his journey, to see where he's at, all the stuff that he's going through, and stuff like that. To be where he's at, it's amazing. It's dope to see. How to stop him? Um, that's a great player over there. So it's gonna be a full team effort. Him and Luca, making sure that we're alert, making sure that we're back in transition, and and do the best we can.
Vinny, towards the back, right?
Jalen, Vince Goodwill, Yahoo Sports. 2 years ago doesn't seem like a long time ago, but in basketball world, it can be forever. How are you guys a different team? How are you a different person and player from 22 when you guys were in the finals the first time?
Yeah, you learn and grow from your experiences. From being a 25-year-old to being a 27-year-old is a big difference. Yeah, I'm 27. And you learn from those experiences. We got a different team. We got a different coach, too, as well. You know, now we had Ime Udoka. Now we got Joe Mazzulla. We had Marcus Smart, Rob Williams. Now we got Drew Holiday and Kristaps Porzingis. Got a different team, different coach. 2 years later makes a pretty big difference. Yeah.
Michael, third row in the middle.
Michael Pina, the ringer. Jalen right here. What does Brad Stevens mean to you, and what does he mean to this organization as just someone who's been here for over a decade now?
I think Brad has been great in his role as GM. He was a great coach, and I think he just continued that by just being a great GM, being able to put the right pieces together and things like that. And it's happy for him. His schedule has been able to settle out, probably putting a little bit less stress on him than we did when he was coaching us. But no, Brad has been great since he's been a part of the Boston organization. He's helped bring this organization back in terms of winning, and has now been able to move into that GM position and put the right pieces together to get us back to the finals.
On your right in the aisle, Mark.
Jalen, back here in the back right. Mark D'Amico, Celtics.com. Jason was just asked about looking back on that 22 finals as well, and he said, when I do look back on it, I'm just curious, how often did you look back on it and watch those tapes? Some people choose to flush it down the toilet and move forward. Some people choose to look back and learn from it on film. How often did you go back and watch that experience?
How often? I've watched it a few times now, maybe like 3 or 4 times, as well as last year's conference finals. I think you can always learn from from anything really, but just being able to watch those moments, and learn from them, like how to manage your emotions and like what you would have did differently potentially. I don't think that's bad to look at and acknowledge and be aware of. So, I would say, a few times at least, I've watched, the finals, the whole thing, all the way through.
Nicholas, second row here on the left.
Hey there, Jalen. Nick Galley, Field Level Media. You mentioned brand new team, brand new coach compared to the 2022 finals run. How has Joe's kind of approach just throughout the playoffs and here in the finals been different from Ime's?
Just two different people. So, two different guys. Joe got his own style. Ime had his own style. Both were great coaches, but Joe has been able to just emphasize, what we wanted to be offensively. And we were with Joe for a little bit longer. Joe had like the interim year, and now this is his second year in a sense. Ime only had 1 year, and so it's hard to really compare and contrast, to be honest.
Shane in the front.
Jaylen, Shane Allen with Forbes Sports. Everyone kind of points to Derek's defense first when they talk about him as a player, but offensively, what can you say about his decision making and the ability to set ball screens and make plays out of that?
Yeah, I mean, Dwight has been great all season long. He's been aggressive. We've empowered him, and he's primed for these moments. We want him to come out and recognize when it's his time to strike, and we feel comfortable with him doing so because he's been doing it all season long.
Gary, next row.
Jaylen, Gary Wash from Boston Globe. I asked Jason earlier about being one of the more scrutinized players in the postseason, and you can relate to that. You've been scrutinized throughout your career. Does that bond you together? Does that bring you together? Do you guys talk about that? Do you joke about that? And how does that affect like your mentality, your focus? You know, are you not as friendly? Does it affect you at all when you hear things? And how do you kind of take that into this moment where it's the biggest stage?
I think it's fair. I think it's a fair question, and I think it's fair to say that it does affect you. You know, being embraced versus being scrutinized. And you know, one of my favorite quotes is like, "The child who isn't embraced by the village," or something like that. You will what is it? Y'all know this quote, right? No? You will feel like the warmth. The child doesn't feel the warmth of the village. Will like burn. Will burn it down, or something like that. Yeah, whatever. That's neither here nor there. But you know, referencing that, it means like, you know, you get to a point where it's like, you know, you get scrutinized enough for a large part of your career, and it becomes normal, and then it just rolls off you. For me, at least, I could say, I don't know if Jason feels the same way. It's kind of been that my whole career, in a sense, you know, just being booed when you were drafted, to saying you were overpaid, and saying you were overpaid again. It's been that the whole journey for me. So, you know, it just becomes another headline.
Bob, last question here on the left.
Hey, Jason. Bob Schron. Again, piggyback on Gary's question. Your journey has involved a lot. In the beginning, you were coming off the bench and was fighting for playing time. It goes back that far. And I know how Joe focuses on you guys focusing on the on the moment. But how do you frame the legacy of this group? In terms of winning a championship. One of the guys asked about it being special as a Celtic, but it also has to do with you guys as a group.
And I think that's a great question as well. And I think this is a special group. I really do. The core group of it has been here for a few years now. We've been able to go through the experiences of, you know, having success but not having success at the same time. So I think that, you know, to solidify it, you know, the ultimate goal is to get over the hump and win. And I think that'll add a lot to our legacy. But as of right now, I mean, that story is still kind of untold.
Thank you, Jen.